What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another predicted lineup. Second game of the season. First home game of the season is Everton at home. And, well, seeing as it is our first home game of the season. And, it's always a team that does bring us multiple problems. Got 4 points off them last season. The home game was a tricky one. And we've got some tricky situations to deal with in terms of injury problems. Ange has done his press conference. So what are we dealing with today?
So a few problems. Bentancur is out with the concussion protocol, so he'll be missing the weekend. We've got Dom Solanke missing this weekend with an ankle injury. Ange said in his press conference he actually picked up quite early on in the Leicester game and he had to play with it and actually dealt with it really well, but it flared up after the game. And he's going to be missing this weekend. Wilson Odobear is in line, could make his debut this weekend. He is fit and available. Basuma is back from his suspension, so he's also available for selection.
4-3-3 as per usual. In goal will be Big Vic, who I thought had a good showing in the first game of the season.
Yeah, kept us in the game with some really good saves from Vardy. Obviously, this game with Everton likely to pump in a lot of set pieces and pass under pressure in that way. That's how Everton's form of attack is most likely to be. So Vic is going to have to be on his guard. And actually, Everton on occasion do like to press high when given the situation permits it. So he's going to have to make sure he cuts out those situations where he's passing out the back sloppily. Got to make sure he does it with precision. He did it pretty well against Leicester, but they didn't really press. But Sean Dyche, I think, is an underrated manager in terms of how he presses. So got to watch out for that.
All right, so Big Vic in goal. Right back, Pedro Porro has come through a scare to be fit for the game this weekend. So good news there. Yeah,
forgot to mention that. Obviously, he hobbled off late in the game against Leicester, but he did train and again is available for selection, which is really positive news. I thought he obviously had a great game against Leicester, scored the opening goal. I feel like we're really going to need him in this one to help open up this Everton side, who when they get in their low block can be a very stubborn team.
Yeah, absolutely. Right centre back Coutinho Romero didn't cover himself in the most amount of glory with the goal that we did concede at Leicester, so hopefully a much better showing here.
Yeah, disappointing. I thought he had overall a really good game, but that moment was really poor from him, and he's got to make sure he doesn't have those lapses in concentration going forward, especially against Everton, who definitely like to put crosses in the box with the likes of McNeil, Harrison, trying to put crosses into Calvert-Lewin. He's got to make sure that he's on his game, because if he lets a few more through, we could easily drop points this weekend.
Mickey van der Ven at left back, the ever reliable Mickey van der Ven, who I thought had a quiet game, but very solid game.
Yeah, I just felt Leicester didn't ask too many questions of him. Every time the ball went over the top, there wasn't too many runners. It was pretty easy to deal with. I do envisage in this one, with Calvert-Lewin up front for Everton, maybe Ndiaye with him, potentially. It's a different kind of threat. They're going to go more direct to Calvert-Lewin, and I've noticed that Van der Ven can sometimes struggle with physical threats, and I think he's gotten better as the last season went on, but that's still one of his weaker areas. So Calvert-Lewin will provide a different threat. I think Vardy obviously didn't really do that. He was running in behind, but he's not really challenging for any headers or stuff like that. So Van der Ven will definitely have a different kind of threat this weekend.
And at left back, it will be Destiny Udogie, who I thought, for the most part, did play well. But when Leicester really put it on us in that 50-minute period, I felt like, he did get done a few times by Fatawu. So maybe it's a few signs of just him coming back from that long injury. But I have no doubt that he's going to go from strength to strength.
Yeah, and there was obviously a period where Tottenham overall were under pressure as well, and we were, conceding openings. We've got to make sure that we limit that this weekend. Obviously, we'll be up against Jack Harrison this weekend, who's a tricky customer, but we know Udogie's got the physicality to deal with him, and hopefully the longer he plays, he'll get up to speed in terms of getting that level of performance for 90 minutes. I'm sure that'll come.
Yep, so that's the usual back four. Big Vic in goal, Porro right back, Destiny left back with Mickey van der Ven and Coutinho Romero in the centre-back positions. In the number 6 has got to be a massive talking point going into this game. Obviously, Bentancur's out with concussion. Basuma is, just coming back from that suspension. Is he going to go straight back in? I don't think he is, to be honest. I really don't. So I got a feeling it's going to be Archie Gray,
Archie Gray, I think it's going to be Archie Gray as well. And if it is not going well, then obviously Basuma can come in. But Archie Gray obviously came on against Leicester, played in the 6. He's played in the 6 a few times now. Did so against Bayern Munich. So I think with what Ange was saying in the press conference that the trust building is still there, that just indicates to me, is he not ready to start yet? Potentially not. Maybe give him another week out of the team. But he is available on the bench if things are going wrong, and available to come on. So I think with what the situation is, Archie Gray will start, and it looks like Ange definitely does trust him. He's put him on in different situations. He played him a lot in pre-season as well. Sorry. So I do think he does trust Archie Gray to start. So I think he'll play in this game.
Massive game for him. Absolutely massive. Moving on to the number 8, Pape Matar did play in the game against Leicester. I don't think he was that good. I thought he was quite good off the ball, but on the ball, he let us down on a number of occasions. There is an option to play Lucas Bergvall, potentially Dejan Kulusevski. I probably think he will stick with Pape, though.
I don't know. I mean, it is a big ask to say to 18-year-olds if I'm saying I want Bergvall in there. But I thought Bergvall was so good when he came on against Leicester, and he's so good off the ball as well. He doesn't get bullied, and that is something I would very seriously consider. Maybe the fact that if Basuma's not going to play, is he going to play Gray and Bergvall? I think that's a bit of a big ask to play them both in one game. You probably want some experience in there, considering the only senior player is going to be Madison, and he's not exactly going to obviously he puts in a bit of a shift, but he's not going to be doing the defensive duties, is he? So I think he's just going to stick with Pape just because of he knows the system better. He's got a bit more experience. He's got a bit more legs as well. And if we start Bergvall and Gray and we get overrun, he'll look back and think that's an avoidable situation.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Pape is obviously very trusted in this system, and Lucas Bergvall's just a new player coming through. Albeit, I think he's been absolutely brilliant every single time he stepped on the pitch for Tottenham Hotspur. I still think there's going to be a bedding in period there. In the number 10, it will be James Madison. I thought he was back to his best against Leicester, and let's hope for more of the same.
Yeah, and he was doing a lot more with the ball in the asking more questions of the Leicester backline than he has done previously. That was one thing which I think for sure in the back end of last season, he was getting the ball in areas where he wasn't able to hurt the opposition, but I saw against Leicester getting the ball in the box, really hurting Leicester, asking different questions to their defence, and he's going to have to definitely do that against an Everton side who are definitely going to look to restrict his influence on the game. So I definitely think he's going to start, and hopefully he can not tire after about the hour mark like he did against Leicester.
And if it does, they've got players like Lucas Bergvall that can come on and make a difference as well in the last stage of the game. In the right-hand side of the attack is an interesting one because you've got Brennan, who's just not playing well at the moment. 2 games against Bayern, I thought he was awful, backing up by another awful performance last week against Leicester. There is Wilson Odobear there waiting in the wings. Is he going to give that start to Wilson Odobear?
It's also Kulusevski. He could also play there. So there's a few options he's got at his disposal. Is he going to throw Odobear straight in? He did say in his press conference, I wouldn't have brought in Odobear if I didn't feel like he can make an impact right now. And he said he's a year older than Gray and Bergvall, and you look at the impact they're making on the team. So there's no reason why he can't come in and make a big impact. And he even said after Solanke there was only one target, and that was Odobear. That's what he said. So that's quite an interesting quote from Ange. Shows the real belief he has in him. He said he's a very different winger to what we have at the moment in terms of what he provides, his dribbling ability. So
I would like to see him come straight in.
It'll be very exciting if he is thrown in. Obviously, he's only had a week with the team in terms of training. Is he up to speed? It's a big question mark. Does he just stick with Brennan? I remember last year at home to Everton, Brennan did get an assist for Richarlison with one of those crosses across the face of goal. Will he be thinking about that when selecting his team? Given how Brennan's been playing, I would like to see Odobear. I've just got a feeling he's going to stick with Brennan, and then if it goes wrong, Odobear can come on.
I kind of get the similar feeling. Like me personally, I would like to see Odobear start and just chuck him in there. But I do feel like he will persist with Brennan for now, and then use Odobear as an option late in the game if we do need something extra. On the left-hand side of the attack, obviously it's going to be Son Heung-min, who I'd like to see have a better performance as well from last week.
Yeah, I thought started the game well, but again, second half was out of the game. One thing he's definitely got to have to look at in this game is Patterson is out, Coleman is out, Ashley Young,
Tarkowski potentially as well.
Tarkowski and Ashley Young suspended. So I don't know who the hell they're going to be playing a right back, but whoever it is, if Sonny can't, really put him under pressure and take him on and ask questions of him, then there has to be a concern because, they're going to have a makeshift fullback there. So Sonny's really going to have to take the game to them on that side. Having said that, I I'm sure Sonny can impact the game.
Of course he will.
And hopefully he can have a better performance than he did against Leicester.
All right. And up front, Big Dom is out. Played every single minute or every single game last season for Bournemouth, and he comes to Tottenham, gets an injury. Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur, my friend. And it's a toss-up.
Missed 3 games over the last 2 years.
Oh, ridiculous. But it's a toss-up between Richarlison and Kulusevski, and I think Kulusevski's got a massive shout. I mean, Richarlison just coming back from injury. Ange does say he's ready in his press conference, but I do just get the feeling that he is going to side with Kulusevski.
Oh, so obviously he did come on, didn't he, against Leicester, but he didn't actually play up front, did he, when he came on? He kind of played off the left up until he made a few adjustments, and he was playing Solanke and Richarlison together. So if I was Ange, I probably would play Decky, just because he's better at holding the ball in the final third, and if he can lay the ball off to the likes of Son and Madison, a bit like Solanke was doing against Leicester, that's probably the best option to go. Although Richarlison against his old team also has a good decent record when starting up front for Ange. Also, you could argue is probably our number 2 striker right now. So Ange could easily put him in. I wouldn't be surprised. But for me, we can't keep leaving Decky out. I mean, I'm sorry, he's playing too well. I thought he had a really good cameo when he came on against Leicester as well. Probably one of our brighter players. He was sensational pre-season. So with Solanke out, I just think he deserves a slot right now. So I would give it to Decky.
But it's not who you would give it to; it's who Ange is going to give it to.
Yeah. He did say he's only playing Decky there because Richarlison is out. That's facts. That's what he said. So I get the feeling maybe he will.
Score prediction.
Well, with Solanke there, I said 3-1. Now he's out. I do think it's going to be a bit more difficult because I expected Solanke to make it a bit more easier to penetrate Everton's backline with his hold-up play. So with that not being there, obviously if it's either Richarlison or Decky, it's still going to be probably better than what Son would have offered in terms of against his kind of opposition. So I still think we'll win. I'm still confident that we should. Also with Everton's injuries, got a lot of injury problems. Garner's out. They've got a whole host of injuries in the back line as well. So if we can't take advantage of that, then I'll be very disappointed. So I'm going to stick with my 3-1 prediction.
I'm going to stay 2-1. That's what I said, and predict the Prem. And I feel like, it's going to be a really tough game. I know they've got injury problems, but they always play the Sean Dyche way, very physical. They can capitalise off set pieces, which we're really poor at defending. So there are a few avenues that Everton can hurt us this weekend. However, I think quality will shine through. It will be a dogged performance, and we're going to come through it by 2-1. So let me know your score predictions. Let me know your predicted lineup as well. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.